Molly.
Welcome to Friends at Gameology, hosted by MoonlightCrew.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less.
Shadowrift.
First edition.
First edition. This is a cooperative deck building game. So each player has their own starting deck, as in most deck building games, and you have a pile of cards you can choose to purchase here to build your decks. You also have some lose conditions that you need to make sure and maintain. Here's this deck, and if it's ever full of infiltrators or corpses or pretty much non-villagers, you lose, so you've got to build this deck as well. There's a second deck here that you purchase, and you build it. There's also monsters you fight, which Tom has in front of him, and they come out and they do terrible things as they move through or move closer to us, and so we need to try to kill those and manage that. And then there's wounds that you get, and the lose conditions are varied, and the win conditions are build 8 walls, which also go into this deck to help you build that community deck. And then there's also the shadow rifts that you can seal. If you seal however many number of players there, so if you're playing with 4 players, if you seal 4, you win the game. And those are in the monster deck. And so that is very simple, well, very quick explanation of the rules. So simplicity versus complexity.
This game's pretty complex in that there's so many different parts you have to keep together. We're just juggling it. There's a little order of play card that we assign it to somebody and they just read through it because it helps out.
Every time, no matter how many, yeah.
I think the rulebook is pretty terrible. This game begs for a different rulebook, which I hope they did in the second edition. I haven't played it yet, but it was difficult to get through this game. But once you start playing, it comes together. Everyone can do things at the same time, so timing stops being as much of an issue. Although it still is important that you do things in certain times for your strategy, it's not against the rules in a lot of different places. There's just keeping track of all the monsters as they go through, keeping track of the abilities and the disadvantages of the infiltrators and whatnot. There's a lot going on in this game, despite the fact that you'll pick it up pretty easily as a deck builder.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on. I think we play with a minimum of 4 people because there's so much going on, and we put someone in charge of reading this and someone else in charge of the village, so those 2 people kind of work together here. We read this every single time. Put someone in charge of the walls, be like, okay, their sole purpose is to look at walls and see if we can do that. And then you put someone in charge of the monsters. And you have to do that because there's so much going on. You're going to miss something if you don't do that. So one person's not solely focused on that. And that is just making the game function. Then there's actually playing the game, which is more complex. You play this, and then you can if you have more magic, you can use the magic for these things. There's just so much going on with the actual card text on top of all of that. So it would take a play or 2 of the game, not a turn, like a whole play of the game, to then actually the next game be like, oh, okay, this is how we do these things. So there's quite a bit going on in this game. So luck versus strategy.
There's a lot of luck in where the shadow rifts are shuffled in the deck. If they're on the bottom, or even just one's on the bottom, you won't win until you seal it. You have to fight through all of the monsters. Then you maybe decide to go for the walls, but you can't know that. Maybe even midway through the game, you're like, I still don't see that shadow rift. I don't know. But there's a lot of strategy in this game. You decide for one person to be like the mage, one person to be the brawler. You try to do a balanced strategy where everyone has enough to seal if they need to seal a shadow rift or kill a monster if they need to. There's a lot of choices to make that matter, and when we lose, we typically know why we lost and what we needed to do better. So it wasn't just all random happenstance. There was some strategy we neglected. We should have focused on sealing more. We should have decided to go only for sealing shadow rifts or for walls and not both. We split our focus and we got in trouble. So there's definitely a lot of strategy in this game.
There is so much strategy, mostly because bad things are going to happen, and that's the luck part. But bad things are going to happen. You just know it, and you know how to prepare. On the back of these cards, it says to play against certain types of monsters, you should use these cards maybe to help you out, so that's helpful. Each monster group has its own thing that it does, right? I don't know if we have these dragons out, but the dragons give you burns, which are just terrible because they make you get more wounds, and we would have done the strategy different. You've got freeze cards, and you've got magic cards. You've got all these different monsters that do different things that you have to make that strategy geared towards that monster group, which I like. And like Tom said, one person has a specific strategy, and that's also very essential to the strategy of the game because you want you want the monsters to be hit every single turn. And if you don't have that brawler, then you're probably going to lose, which we lose a lot. Fun versus boring. I like this game. There are a lot of fiddly bits that I wish weren't there or that were more streamlined, but I really like this game. I like co-ops and I like deck building games. So this is really cool, and I like that you have a community deck that you're building up. So I really, really like this game.
This was the first co-op deck builder I played, and I was really excited to try it out, and it fell very flat for me. I feel when I'm playing this first edition like I'm playing a prototype, a not play-tested, not developed prototype of a game. There's so much potential in this game, and when I play it, I feel like I'm almost having fun. There's something I can do to just get to where it's going to be fun, and then the game itself makes that not happen. This is not a fun game. This isn't a boring game, but it's not fun. I'm very excited to look. I'm looking forward to. I'm very excited and looking forward to Shadowrift 2.0, the second edition. I hope that they cleaned up some of the mechanisms in the cards because this has so much potential. But were I to say, I will not recommend Shadowrift, the first edition. I would, if you were to buy one, I would say buy anything else. Buy two over this, anything else over this. I would give this in BGG ratings. I would give this probably a 3 or a 4, just because of how clunky it is. It needed to have more development.
I would give this much higher. I'd give this a 7 or 8 because I find it fun, even despite all of those things. So, yes, check it out. Hopefully second edition is better. So, Shadow Rift, we've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.